These days, the WNBA is more than simply breaking news. History is being broken because nobody anticipated what just transpired. No women's basketball player, not even a rookie or a superstar, has ever had this opportunity. The inconceivable has officially been done by the WNBA. Caitlin Clark has been offered a direct ownership position in the Indiana Fever. Yes, ownership, not a sneaker contract, sponsorship, or incentive. Real ownership, real influence, genuine equity, and a place at the same table as executives, billionaires, and legends. This isn't your typical contract. This statement is revolutionary. For many years, the elite, retired celebrities, business titans, and wealthy investors were the only ones allowed to own sports properties. However, the WNBA destroyed that rulebook today. No more waiting till retirement, they say. No more intermediaries. You should get a piece of this league, since you are the one creating it. Furthermore, there is more to this than just basketball. It has to do with power, change, and survival. Caitlin Clark is not your typical rookie. She is the WNBA's lifeblood. The league faced difficult challenges for many years. Low ratings, empty seats, and scant sponsorships. Profit wasn't always present, but desire was. The world simply wasn't paying attention, but the talent was obvious. Caitlin Clark then arrived. Everything changed the moment she set foot on a WNBA court. The crowd, the enthusiasm, the optimism. All of a sudden, those deserted stadiums were filled with life. They were living. Supporters waving placards that read Clark Country. Attendance at the Fever skyrocketed. In a single season, over 200,000 new supporters were added. Tickets were sold out in a matter of minutes. Everywhere merchandise sold out. TV ratings are skyrocketing. The world watches every time Caitlin Clark performs. She brought more than just admirers. She brought faith. She did more than boost figures. She brought a whole league back to life. The story is told by the numbers. The chart shows a 400% increase in draft viewership. Tickets for admission. Sales of tickets are up 93%. TV ratings have increased by 180%. That is a revolution, not merely progress. Networks are battling for the right to broadcast. Team prices are soaring, and sponsors are lining up. Once valued at over $65 million, the Indiana Fever are currently close to $100 million. A 40% increase due to a single player. The WNBA doesn't seem to be surviving for the first time in decades. It appears to be flourishing. And Caitlin Clark is at the heart of it all. Her journey had the feel of a film. An Iowan girl from a little community who changed history by dreaming of altering the game. She broke every record in sight at the University of Iowa. Only male or female NCAA Division I player to lead the country in assists and score more than 1,000 points in a single season. Her threes for her logo became viral. Her self-assurance became legendary. Millions were impressed by her leadership. She may now become the first female basketball billionaire, according to analysts. Consider that. From a young woman with aspirations to one of the world's most formidable athletes. This is where things become complex, though. The world abroad is also watching as the WNBA celebrates a victory. Mega-rich clubs are offering contracts worth life-altering sums all around Europe. Seven-figure salaries, opulent facilities, and private aircraft. Legends like Brittany Gurrier, Diana Taurasi, and Breanna Stewart all traveled abroad in pursuit of those lucrative contracts. Caitlin Clark is now confronted with the same query. Either stay at home and create the league that needs her, or go after the riches that lie on the other side of the world. The ownership offer from the WNBA is more than simply a perk. It's a retaliation. We can't match Europe's money, but we can give you something bigger, a legacy, the league is stating. They are not paying Clark because they are giving her ownership. They are collaborating with her. It's a message for all international leagues. Caitlin Clark now owns a portion of what you're attempting to take, so you can't buy her. However, this is the crucial query. Is ownership even able to match Europe's financial might? Additionally, not all WNBA employees are cheering while fans celebrate. The pain is being felt by veteran players, women who have worked hard and made sacrifices to create this league. Wilson was candid. Although Caitlyn is incredible, how can a newbie receive offers that legends have never seen? The WNBA has always been about sisterhood and unity, so it's reasonable to ask, but right now, that link is being put to the test. Without showing disrespect to the veterans who made it possible, how can you honor the rookie who made all the difference? That is the difficult balance that the league is currently dealing with. This goes beyond a contract. We're at a turning point. The future of women's basketball will be determined by Caitlyn Clark's next action. If she stays, it will demonstrate that the WNBA can grow by ownership, vision, and faith rather than high wages. The league has a long way to go before it can seriously compete with the titans of the world game, as evidenced by her departure. Her choice will have an impact on young athletes, investments, sponsorships, and even the aspirations of the future generations. Because money is no longer the main factor here. It has to do with legacy. It concerns who will decide how women's basketball develops in the future. Caitlyn Clark is at the most influential point in her early career right now. Loyalty, leadership, and legacy are the results of one route. The alternative to riches, liberty, and world supremacy. Whatever she decides, one thing is for sure. Everything has already changed because of her. Executives and investors are no longer writing the WNBA's future. The author, a 22-year-old Iowan, had the guts to think that women's basketball might go indefinitely. Caitlyn Clark no longer only carries a basketball. A movement is being carried by her. The question is now straightforward. Will she continue to establish her empire within the WNBA or expand her reputation outside of it? The entire globe will be waiting to see what happens next. Caitlyn Clark has had a lasting impact on sports, not simply women's basketball. These days, the WNBA does more than just make news. It is creating a new chapter. The league has made a startling, unexpected decision that nobody could have predicted. Something that has never before been provided by a rookie, superstar, or women's basketball player. Caitlyn Clark has received an official offer from the WNBA to directly own the Indiana Fever. Yes, you heard correctly. Ownership, non-endorsement, a brand contract, or a bonus. Real equity, a seat at the table reserved for billionaires, CEOs, and legends. This goes beyond a simple contract. This statement is revolutionary. For many years, ownership was only available to wealthy outside investors or retired celebrities. However, in order to retain their most valuable player, not only for her performance on the court, but also for the future she represents, the WNBA has made the decision to revise the rules and tear down the previous barriers of hierarchy. Since Caitlyn Clark is no longer merely a rookie, she is the league's lifeblood. Additionally, this move is about metamorphosis and survival. The WNBA faced an uphill battle for many years. Diminishing interest, empty seats, and sponsorship difficulties. This league was passionate but unprofitable for much too long. The world wasn't looking, but the skill was there. Caitlyn Clark then showed up. Everything changed the moment she stepped onto a WNBA floor for the first time. The people, the belief, and the excitement. All of a sudden, the vacant stadia were packed once more. Fans yelling and waving signs that read Clark Country broke the stillness. Attendance at the Fever soared. In one season, over 200,000 new fans were added. Tickets that were unsold for weeks are suddenly sold out in a matter of minutes. The rate at which merchandise is selling out has never been higher, and millions of people watch her every time she takes the stage. Caitlyn Clark brought faith in addition to admirers. She revitalized an entire league in addition to increasing numbers. TV ratings on streaming services, ESPN and ABC, have broken all previous records. Once a middle-of-the-pack squad, the Indiana Fever unexpectedly rose to the top of the women's basketball rankings in terms of viewership. The entire globe watches Caitlyn Clark perform. Women's basketball feels not only thrilling at that very time, but also boundless. However, there is a challenging reality hidden behind the festivities. Even now, money speaks. European teams are offering dangling contracts across the Atlantic that make WNBA wages seem like pennies. Luxurious amenities, private aircraft, and 6 or perhaps 7-figure salaries. Some of the top players in the world, including Brittany Gurrier, Diana Taurasi, and Breanna Stewart, have already played abroad in an attempt to earn the kind of money that the WNBA just cannot match. Caitlin Clark is now confronted with the same insurmountable dilemma. Either pursue the kind of fortune that may transform her life forever, or stay at home and create the league that most needs her. The offer of ownership from the WNBA is more than a token gesture. It's a strategy to prevent their best star from traveling abroad. They are collaborating with her rather than merely paying her by giving her a stake in the Indiana Fever. The world is being told a message. Caitlin Clark cannot be purchased. She is now a member of the foundation. Can ownership, however, match Europe's financial might? That is the question that is reverberating around the world. Take a moment to realize how enormous this is. Never before has the WNBA experienced such growth. Draft viewership has increased 400% after Caitlin Clark's entrance. Sales of admission tickets have increased by 93%. TV ratings have increased by 180%. That is a revolution rather than merely progress. The number of sponsors is growing. Networks are battling for the right to broadcast. The value of teams is increasing at record rates. In just 1 year, the value of the Indiana Fever alone has increased from $65 million to almost $90 million. Due to one individual, that is an almost 40% increase. The WNBA doesn't appear to be surviving for the first time ever. IT appears to be flourishing. And at the very center of it all is Caitlin Clark. Her tale seems nearly legendary. A little Iowa girl who aspired to be great is now changing the course of a whole sport. She led the country in assists and became the first player, male or female, to score over 1,000 points in a single season at the University of Iowa. Her deep threes became well known. Her leadership made her a cultural figure, and her swagger inspired millions. According to analysts, she has the potential to become the first female basketball billionaire. Consider that. From a kid from a modest community to possibly the wealthiest player in women's basketball history. But what really counts is her influence, not the numbers. A generation is being inspired by her. Young ladies who think they belong on the largest platforms are dribbling basketballs in driveways. A movement has been formed around Caitlin Clark. Her accomplishments demonstrate that the dream is a reality and that women's basketball is finally ready for a global audience. Not everyone in the WNBA is grinning, despite the fact that the entire world is celebrating her. Players who have been striving for recognition for years, known as veteran stars, are frustrated. For example, Al Wilson expressed reservations while praising Clark's talent. How is it possible for a beginner to receive something that legends never received? Although there is no denying Clark's influence, the league must be careful not to split the very sisterhood that created it. So, it's a legitimate question. The last thing the WNBA can afford right now is for that togetherness to break down if players begin to feel ignored. The leadership is aware of it. The supporters are aware of it. Clark is aware of it as well. This is a turning point for the sport as a whole, not just for her. Without showing disrespect to the veterans who made it possible, how can you honor a rookie who made a huge difference? The future of women's basketball could be drastically altered by Caitlin Clark's next choice. If she stays, it will demonstrate that the WNBA can compete with international leagues not by financial means but by ownership, vision, and faith. If she departs, it will reveal how far the league must go before it can genuinely compete with the NBA, EuroLeague, or any other top brand in the globe. Her next move will determine how the whole sports world views women's basketball, how sponsors invest, and how new athletes dream. Salary is only one aspect of this. Legacy is at issue. It concerns who will have influence over the future. Right now, Caitlin Clark is at the pinnacle of her promising career. Loyalty, legacy, and leadership are the outcomes of one route. The other to worldly prosperity, liberty, and foreign history. She has already permanently altered the game, regardless of her choice, because boardrooms and locker rooms are no longer where the WNBA's future is being written. The author, a 22-year-old Iowan, had the guts to think that women's basketball could grow to unprecedented heights. Caitlin Clark is no longer merely carrying a ball. She's carrying a whole motion. The question is now straightforward. Will she remain at home, establish her dominance in the WNBA, and solidify her reputation as the greatest trailblazer in the league's history? Or will she pursue a new sort of brilliance that the world has never seen by taking her skills abroad? One thing is for sure,